and welcome to the channel. Today there's something different. Ta-da! Here I am. Here's the picture of me, and let's see how this goes, if you guys like it. This is a walkthrough of a game called Into the Waves. So let's see. I've already tried it for like 15 minutes and it's really heavy on dialogue. So let's get to it. I have a slight dyslexia, so yeah, I think this should be great. Okay, the first one was Scared to Death. Oh, what? There were two nights. Yes, there were two nights. I figured there was something wrong with that. Okay, there were two nights. The first one was Scared to Death. The vast halls were completely devoid of life. The silence was absolute. Still, he shuddered at the sight of every static shadow. He has been laughed at. They called him coward, weakling, a pathetic, trembling creature, a dirty pants knight. Dirty pants. That's a sweet way to describe someone. Dirty pants. You're such a dirty pants. A no good, a nobody. They told him he had probably been made a knight by mistake, and if it wasn't so, he had to prove it. If it wasn't so, he had to prove it. Commit of an act of bravery. Go to the castle of the Lord of Darkness. Otherwise, who would have taken him seriously? A chicken and a no good. Chicken. Oh yeah, chicken is like the coward animal. With his head still shaking and thoughts of fear of his mind, he entered the next hall. The door slammed behind him. Well, that was new. The veil has about to be torn. He stopped. In front of him were massive double doors with beautiful yet completely meaningless asymmetric pattern. What would become of this overly anxious son if people rejected him? What would become of his wife? What would become of his purpose to help others? He pushed the door. That was the veil, right? Veils are usually made of fabric, and it's torn. The second night was different. He wasn't too fond of this idea either. He was sent here by knight's orders to find out what happened to the first night and confront the terrifying Lord of Darkness. To uproot this evil and save the warrior who boldly yet voluntarily rushed into the fiend's lair. In this exact order, perhaps. He had his orders, he had a goal, and he marched onwards fearlessly. Onwards, through the maze of stairs. Onwards, down the useless halls. Onwards, through the kingdom of asymmetric patterns that vanished the twilight of spotty lighting. Ignoring the twisted surroundings and the broken echo of his space onwards, he moved on and on until... There's a door again. Until the next door, where he realizes he wasn't alone anymore. This was the same place, right? Where the first night went. Hold on, I'm gonna put up my hair. He stopped, unleashed his sword, took the fighting stance. Slowly, something emerged out of the dark. Is that us? Was that us? It was unclear how this hardened jelly was able to move, or how it managed to wing its head. And we slayed it. Yep, there's the torso. The knight cut off the monster's head. Just a noble knight, just as noble knight should. The monster did not seem to notice it and went on. Yeah, just a regular Friday. For a second, the knight stepped back and aside. The monster passed by and dissolved into darkness. The knight was still in his fighting stance amid in the ludicrous hall. He was feeling very stupid. He put down his sword and went on without shedding it. He was in front of the giant doors. The knight paused. Still, he opened the door. He fought long. He fought valiantly. As he watched the enormous hand with light emanating sword draw close slowly and playfully, his thoughts were with his son. It was right to start with his knighthood training. He might be finally getting some peace and tranquility. But what of his son? This dream. That was like a story or a narrative in his head while he was sleeping, or her. Although I can't remember anything, it seems I dreamed something very important. I started having it almost 5 years ago, soon after my father died, just before the curse took its toll. Pursuing this dream has been just as fruitless as finding out anything about the curse. I was barely able to learn that this is most likely a curse. Hermit Wire Witch told me. However, she wasn't able to tell me anything beyond that. That's why she was reluctant to charge me. I barely persuaded her to take money. Speaking of money, it's almost noon. I must have made Uncle work overtime. Most regular morning, in a cozy small portside tavern out of the very ocean shore, into the waves. That's the name of the game. This was what Uncle Quinton called the humble establishment, being its co-owner and business partner. Yes, into the waves, foaming amber beer, rivers of fine wines and refreshing cocktails. The entrance door gave a long sorrowful squeak. In the doorway stood Sherry, the girl of more or less my age. Her parents owned a store nearby, where all sorts of fresh pastry and candy could be bought, both family made and delivered from distant lands. Silently, I waited for her to approach the counter and take a seat. It's not that easy to look into someone's eye when you can't make out their face. I stranded my imagination to look confidently where I thought her eyes were supposed to be. Maureen, are you there? Maureen, 1R. But I heard you. Sherry got up and spinned beside the counter for a second. One of the sleepy guards dropped his mug and the card players whispered. It seems my intuition was right. Well, how do I look? Do you like it? You are pretty as always. Only today you are even prettier than usual. Really suits you. This dress is gorgeous and the fabrics is quite exquisite. It's not a lie. It's my sincerest belief that such a tender and kind girl has to be pretty. I may not see her, but she is most certainly beautiful. You really think so? It isn't a bit too revealing and close-fitting? I know you. You wouldn't wear it if you believed it was inappropriate. So I am certain about your taste. What's the occasion? Going on a date with a handsome young man, a valiant knight, or even a prince, perhaps? Perhaps I'm going out. Sherry's voice took a playful tone. No, definitely not with a prince. I don't think a prince would notice me. Alas? I didn't say alas. I need no prince. This young man is sweeter and much more caring than the princes combined. At least I'm the prince I heard at. Color me intrigued. Color? Color me intrigued. What's that? Who's the lucky man? Would it be like call me intrigued? That's cute. Okay. Best to talk when I'm stumbling every other word, but still. He's very strong, just as strong as Moring, the legendary warrior. The girl reached out to me and dabbed my shoulder with her finger. Caught by surprise, I staggered. To her, I was but an innocent move, but for me it was different. I knew it was close to a regular human being, not some shapeless shadow. Still, whether one of the shadows came closer and hand reached, let alone touched me, my heart skipped a beat, and I sank into irrational fear. Is something wrong? That was way happier. The kind of psychopath Sherry. Are you okay? Sorry, it's all right. So you were telling me he's very strong. Might it be Frank, the blacksmith's son, who works across the road? Frank is strong, all right, but it's not him. Besides, have you ever seen Frank? Squinting eyes, crooked legs, smelling worse than a herd of pigs? No, don't humor me with blind man could imagine me dating Frank. At least he's as strong as a dozen Morins. A drunk voice came from the cart stable and they laughed in unison. Another round for your gentleman? Yes, and less foam, Marin. More beer, less foam, more foam. Coming right up. Well, that's your job. Okay. Yes, there is some clicking going on. Clicking action. No foam. The foam should be like 1 centimeter. Like this much. It's done. They won't be bothering. It's done. I'm Maureen. It's done. They won't be bothering us another 15 minutes. Well, that's a long time to sip a beer. Good. It seems the dress is too provocative after all. Within a short nod, Sherry pointed at the guards. Those two were undressing me with their eyes. As for you, you are too reserved. Cold even. Maureen. 1 R. I don't call you Cheryl. No, you don't. Maureen. Now, would you offer a pretty girl a drink on such a hot day? Sure I will. The order of ingredients. Pink, Vermont, cherry liquor, pomegranate syrup, dark beer. Was it supposed to be the last one supposed to be sweet and the beer is the last one here? Okay, pink Vermont, this is the pink, right? Yes. Then cherry. Cherry, yes. Pomegranate. Where's the beer? There's the beer. I poured around 2 spoonfuls of semi-sweet Vermont and cherry liquor into a clean mug and another 1.5 of pomegranate syrup. Next, I took the mug to the dark deep beer tap and poured a bar spoon inside that the layers don't instantly mix. Here you go, oh pretty girls, Sherry. Your morning's darkest pleasure. To the waves. To the waves. Sherry raised the mug to where her mouth supposedly was and made a few generous gulps, her darkest pleasure in one go. Losing this quiet dress for once. Anything that can happen on a date, Anything indeed, but that depends on how the date goes. It depends on the both of you. He might turn out to be a terrible boss killer and fail to read your signals. That's when I say, alas, fine philosophing barkeeper, pour me another darkest pleasure, and go hide your buskilling wives in the cellar. I like you so much better when you called me pretty girl Sherry a few minutes ago. Without a single word, I started mixing another drink. Okay, so it was pink Vermont, cherry liquor, pomegranate syrup, and dark beer. I should pick my drink serving line carefully. I almost made her upset with a couple of innocent yet meaningless remarks. One doesn't have a genius. It takes much effort to keep calm before a date, even more so if you feel something towards this person. Moreover, it is my responsibility as a barkeeper to keep Sari from getting drunk before she leaves for her date. I took a deep breath and pushed the brimming mug towards the girl. Let the roaring beer waves take you to your dream, oh pretty. The wonderful darkest pleasure for the pretty girl, Sherry. Okay, well, she liked that we called her pretty girl, so one wonderful darkest pleasure for the pretty girl, Sherry. Thank you. This is so much better. Sherry's voice took a warmer tone. She must have smiled. Perhaps in the other life, the one without looming curses, we would get closer. I would call her out on a date and get rejected. Daydreaming again, Maureen? Is nothing. I wasn't sleeping very well. Quite poorly, to tell you the truth. I've been having these weird dreams lately. What dreams? I don't know. The moment I wake up, I can remember anything. Not a thing? Nothing. Nothing but the looming shadows. Just imagining it gives me the chills. Let's not dwell on my dreams. The day is too nice for that.
Yeah, Maureen, to the sea devil with your blue dreams. How possibly can you speak such gibberish when there's
whoops. There's what? I noticed Seri move aside from the waist guard. He was silent for a while and then landed on a neat sack of silver coins on the bar.
Oops. Not what, Maureen? Who?
You must be blind to look at the pretty Sherry like this. She's trying to this and that to get to you. Barely keeps her panties on. Hey, that's not true.
Oops, sorry sweetheart. Guess I've had one too many and said too much. And he...
The guard pointed his fingers at me.
He poured another round, although saw it all.
Suddenly the man laughed loudly. There was whispers among the card players. The drunk by the window woke up, jumped to his feet, and stormed out of the tavern. I didn't say a word, just kept looking at the guard's silhouette. Chill now, lad. You're good, kid.
Steady hand, little foe. Have a nice day and say hi to old Pinkman.
He's Quentin, although...
No one calls him that but you.
My voiceovers are really bad, but I think it's better to use something rather than nothing. That's what I was going to say.
Sure. There's a little something for the trouble. Me and the boys are off to get some sleep.
2 more coins dropped on the counter and the drunken army left. So noisy and interrupting our conversations too. Don't forget, I'm a barkeeper and they are guests, hence the source of our income. And so are you. I tried to smile as sarcastically as I could, so that Sherry wouldn't take it as an offense. Not today, though. On the house, remember? By the way, doesn't all of this remind you of something? The girl took a small gulp of the mug. No, doesn't ring a bell. Should it remind me of some scene from a book or a play? Well, in a way. Rex Harrington has something like that in the Black Castle. The title did ring a bell. I've certainly read it, but I failed to recall the plot and the scene Sherry was talking about. Forget about the books. It's morning in the tavern. A cute girl wears a pretty new dress. A gallant young man serves her delicious drinks. They have a small talk about this and that. Was there really such a scene in Rex Harrington's Black Castle? There was, but at the point of discussing a book you don't remember? Maureen? Have you guessed by now that I'm having a date with you? It was already started. The plot of the book started pouring back into my mind. It was a bit different though. A seductive young man was treating the main character to a handful of pleasant surprises during the evening and later on. She told him she had a good time and it was the same, it was a date. The young man replied, "Why, doesn't just a fine evening count as a date?" Then there was a plot twist with wizards and elemental witches, monsters and spells. Only the ending of the Black Castle was missing and escaped me no matter how hard I tried to recall it. Maureen? Please look into my eyes without squinting like Frank and say something. I'm starting to feel awkward as if I've made a terrible mistake. Sherry, the entrance door squeaked and the bell rang again. Welcome to our humble tavern. Excuse me, Sherry, but I have to work while Uncle Quinter rests. I know, it's probably not the best time. Yeah, sort of. Wait a second, I'll be back. Guest won't wait. Do I click?
Can I click? Can I click somewhere? Please let me click.
Maureen? I'm all ears, Sherry. Not today. I couldn't get any clicks. There was nothing in life that could prepare me for a date with Shadow Girl, whose face, complexion, and even clothes remained a mystery. Then let's meet later tonight when your uncle comes back to shift you. You don't have any plans for tonight, do you? I gulped silently. A date meant that me and Sherry could even get closer than now. Perhaps she would try to take a hand or even give me a hug. Such a scenario was terrifying. What would I do? Push her away as I spin out of control? No, I don't have any plans yet. However, I've told you already that I've been sleeping badly, so I might start dozing off early tonight. Well, it means I have to come get you shortly after your shift. A bit later, perhaps. Quentin might take me work extra hours. I've missed in the morning. So you were sleeping late after all? I was. I didn't get enough sleep, though. Fine. You do seem to have some serious sleeping issues. It's alright. I'm sure you will forget about sleeping tonight. Surely hope so. I would be happy to forget about sleeping, or rather seeing these different dreams once and for all. It's better having no dreams at all than trying to recall the ones that suck you as dry as cocktail lemon. Please wait for me. You know, timing is in my speciality, so I can show up late. Good. If you don't find me in the tavern, rest assured I'm snoring upstairs. I hope your snoring isn't too loud. You mean? Nothing. Not sure a lovely girl like you should drink so much in the morning if she is having a date tonight. Also, the last Vermont bottle is running out. There's barely enough for a couple of cocktails, so I guess I should keep it for later. The last bottle? Well, yeah, the shipment of exotic drinks should have arrived around a week ago, so I guess something must have happened to the ship. If it doesn't arrive in the next few days, Uncle and I have to narrow down our menu. Too bad. My mom and dad are having the same problem now. I hope the ship didn't get a storm or wreck against some rock. It pains me to see the customer look over the half-empty shelves to fail to find what they want and leave with a sigh. We have to believe in it. Have to believe in what? Did I skip something? With unexpected agility. I can go back, let's see. Hope everything's going to work out. We have to believe in it. With unexpected agility, Sherry leaned over the bar and I barely had time to close my eyes. I have felt her light kiss on my cheek. It seems I shuddered with my whole body and couldn't make myself open my eyelids. Must have looked weird or even frightening. I was breathing heavily. Maureen, are you alright? Her warm hand touched my cheek. The situation looked nasty. Even with my eyes closed, it was as if I could see the creature. Are you hurt? Should I wake Uncle or find a doctor? Maureen! It's alright. I summoned my will to get out of her hand away from my face, nice and slow, without opening my eyes. Then I took a half a step back. It's alright. Sorry for scaring you. What was that? I thought my hair would go grey. Everything was fine just a moment ago, and then you started shaking as if possessed by an evil spirit. I don't know what this is, actually. I've been to healers and witch doctors. They told me it was no illness. It's just that my body responds weirdly to other humans' touch. So that's what this is all about. That explains a lot. Explains what? Your coldness. That's why you are so courteous and friendly, but should I take another step?
Barkeeper, more wine.
Be right back. Wait, I guess I should be going. See you tonight. See you tonight, Sherry. Guests are waiting. Now I can clickety click click. Welcome to our cozy tavern. Usually when there's aren't too many clients, which mostly happens at noon, I do my best to greet anyone who enters. The one side is simple courtesy, to the other side a calculated business trick. Sometimes even those who wandered into the waves by accident should stay for a drink after a warm welcome. That's what I thought at first, that the new quest was random. However, the one I looked at this causes erratic movements, the one I realized my initial guess was wrong. No, there was but one person who moved so oddly and kept looking around suspiciously. Gregory, is that you? Quiet! They could be eavesdropping nearby. Who? Don't ask anything, Maureen. Just answer my questions as vaguely as possible. What have you done, or noble sire? I thought I told you not to ask anything. I sighed heavily and rolled my eyes. In 5 years I haven't seen Gregory. It seems he managed to turn from a timid, easily scared boy into a complete paranoid. Do you have a silver spoon? Wait, I'll look for it. Why silver? Only silver will do. Mirror polished. What use for silver spoons in a tavern for common folk? Haven't got a clue, to be honest. Neither do I. It was a rhetorical question, though. I told you not to ask any questions. Which of these customers seems the most suspicious to you? You, Gregory. Good. Me, I'm always cautious. But I wasn't talking about cautious, rather about suspicious. You are the most suspicious person here, Greg. Did you find the spoon? Almost. Could you care to explain? No, I have to make sure first. How long have these card players been here? Since yesterday evening, I presume. I took a better look at the gamblers' outlines. The young men seemed to have worn out, falling asleep, spread on the table. A few fancy cards were scattered across the floor. They seemed to be sleeping. Good. Here's the spoon. Feel free to polish it yourself. Gregory didn't reply. For a minute or two he wasn't violently polishing the silver spoon, but the dish rack, so I helpfully provided. When the spoon was finally shining, Gregory finished out a pouch-shaped amulet, wrapped its chainlet around the spoon, and started moving it left and right very slowly. It seems to be studying reflections carefully. What are you trying to find? Stop interfering! I shut up and without further ado went to the guest stable to make sure they don't need a refill. When all the customers got their orders, I returned to Gregory. He finally finished studying the spoon reflections and was sitting in the bar, slightly more relaxed than a few minutes ago. Are you done with the ritual? It wasn't a ritual. Yes, I'm done. Is this a line for a fortune ball? Are you carrying one of those with you? What ball? Gregory started spinning in his head uneasily again. Doesn't matter, forget it. What's more important is how you found me. That's more important is how you recognize me? What's more to tell? I couldn't confuse your walk and consistent alarmingness with any other. Not in 5 years, nor in 50. Still, you didn't answer my question. How did you manage to find me here, on the very outskirts of our vast homeland? And the most important question, what for? Gregory was silent for a while. Are you mad at me, Maureen? Just be hating my guts. Must be hating my guts. I'm probably the last person you would like to see in your tavern. Why is that? I'm here to apologize. So you came all this way in a miraculously tracked me down just to apologize. For what exactly? You know perfectly well, actually. What for? Your father's death. It was my turn to fall silent and think. Father told me to beware of those who speak in righteousness, morality, and greater good. However, it was exactly how he met his demise, fighting evil. This contraction made me so mad I left my hometown and abandoned the path of warrior. It wasn't an accident. I settled down in these parts. The grim castle on a cliff shadowing over the ocean became my father's tombstone. The very castle I see every night from my rooms upstairs. The very castle that serves me as a reminder to never follow my father's footsteps. It's clear to me now, but then he must have had no choice. That's why he was warning me. He didn't want me to end up like him. It was his inconsistency that made me change my way. Surprisingly enough, it did the trick, although it's unlikely it was his intention. Father wasn't much of a strategist. Quite the contrary, it was the accident of his life-shifting chain of events that made me reevaluate things. Gregory sat almost still, except for the cautious looks around. I'm sorry, You shouldn't be. Must be hard to choose words when talking to a person whose father caused your father's death. Letting you go of the heavy thoughts is even harder. I've been thinking a lot about what happened. I couldn't help it. Was on the edge. That was understatement. You took a part of the inheritance and escaped to where no one knew you. Left your mother and younger siblings behind. Left your friends, although I doubt you ever considered me as your friend. It was a very long time ago. Many things changed, and so did my perspective. As for me, I did change a bit. You can see I'm the same anxious coward I was back there. Back home. No, my home is here now, and the past belongs to the past. You have nothing to apologize for, Gregory. What about your father? My father, he just followed his orders and died. It could be heroic death, or a foolish one. There's no one to tell us the truth, so we'll never know for sure. It doesn't matter why your father went into that castle. They could send anyone. Not only thing we could do about it now is drink. Gregory nodded approvingly. For the first time in all the years I've known him. Okay, sherry liquor, orange liquor, lemon slice, sugar. I placed a couple of shot glasses on the counter in front of me, then hesitantly added another 2. In each, I poured about a third of sherry liquor. Next, using spoon so that the layers don't mix, I added transparent orange liquor on the top, very top. Finally, I put thin slices of lemon on each glass and covered them with sugar. Wow! The drink is called St. Paul's Fate. You drink it in one gulp and chase it down with a lemon. To freedom from the shackles of the past could be the best one for me, I think. Ah, sounds good. Grab the second one. Should we really? Gregory, would you kindly drink and ask no questions? Gregory braced himself and trained the second glass. Have the third one too. I have a long working day ahead of me. I shouldn't indulge. So indulging is bad, but getting me hammered is not? The dizziness will be over before you know it. Admit it, you enjoyed it. If I came all this way to get wasted in your booze barn, Maureen, it's a tavern. Is there a difference? Not sure, but me and Uncle Quentin call it a tavern, so it must be a tavern. Well, to your fine tavern then. He trained the third glass. Frankly speaking, I couldn't think our meeting after 5 years could go like this. Neither did I that I would be able to silver spoon demanding old comrade drop by. Now that you are calm, tell me what you needed it for. Hold on. It seems I'm already somewhat dizzy from your cocktails. That happens. You probably shouldn't have drunk 3 in a row. Wait. Wasn't it you who told me drink and no questions? My advice might have been a bit hasty. Gregory looked around, only this time slowly, without a nervous twitch. The alcohol got to his head. Advice? You insisted! Doesn't matter now. So, why did you need a silver spoon? Oh, Maureen, frankly speaking, I'm dying to tell you that it's all about, but I can't. Even if I told you, you wouldn't believe me. Should I mix up another couple of cocktails or treat you more some strong orange liquor? No, I better slow down on the alcohol. What you said, better not indulge. It's just that the story is dark and twisted one. Long story short, he stopped. Do go on. Customers' mugs might be empty again before you decide. Good day to you, dear guests. I routinely greeted new customers and tried to focus back on the dark shape that was Gregory's face. Don't get me wrong, they could be watching me, listening to my every word. If the wrong ears hear that, I'll have to hit the road. Now, that doesn't sound normal at all. It's either you tell me everything or I go back to my job. Guests can't wait. Gregory nodded. Maureen, listen. They ordered Darkest Pleasure, my signature cocktail. However, I am almost out of vermouth. Guess I'll have to improvise. So you have a few more minutes to think. Why improvise? Offer them a similar yet simpler drink. I can charge them a bit less. Should be fair. What if they refuse? Then you get to drink all of it. Off you go then. Sherry liquor, pomegranate syrup, cold dark beer. Okay, sherry liquor, pomegranate syrup, and dark beer. It's basically the same ingredients, so hey, they don't even notice it, I'm sure. Here it is, I'm all ears. Fine, I guess I can handle a few more drops of your liquor. With an artistic move, I grabbed the bottle and filled Gregory's glass to the brim. He drank it within a blink. Then he put an amulet in front of me, the very amulet he kept holding next to the spoon. You might find this plain item useful. Let us call it that, just in case. I took a closer look. The amulet seemed way too familiar, as if I'd seen it many years ago, although not wielded by a cowardly knight's son, in one of the books, far away from here, in a place I used to call home. Where did you... When you abandoned, I mean, when 5 years ago you left, my parents' home? Yep, that one. Why your mother's approval, blessed to her name, I divided deep into your father's notes. The notes about... Gregory stumbled. He was still a bit dizzy, although his speech was loud and clear. Pour me some water, if you please. I'm not feeling well, not accustomed to drink this much. I granted him his wish and drank all of it. More. I filled his cup within still water again, but this time he barely touched it. The notes were about certain creatures. He tapped his finger on the cup, and how to recognize them. The spoon trick was one of the most reliable, to tell the truth. It seems I haven't been able to make it work, not a single time. Great, well at least I hope you enjoyed your small performance. Sorry, I must have done something wrong. But isn't it exciting to look at the reflection and see something invisible to your naked eye? Yes, very exciting, considering the trick doesn't work. Please continue. Your father's records had many other tips on these creatures. Gregory tapped into the brimming cup again. Among others, how to protect yourself from them. And maybe be miserable coward, but I did manage to get my hands on this. Plain item. Got it. Please accept my humble gift. These creatures, they are near. You must know how to wield it. Many years ago I saw your father training you, teaching what he could do best. Even if you forgot his lessons, I believe his knowledge is still there, deep inside you. When the time comes, you'll see. You'll figure it out. The creatures are near, I know it. He tapped the cup again, for the third time, then drank all of the water. Thank you very much and all. Hopefully I won't be facing anything of that kind. Neither today, nor tomorrow, nor in 20 years. Gregory raised from his chair, looked around as usual, and offered his hand timidly, but instantly withdrew it. As if he wanted to shake my hand, but considered for no reason. At the moment, I almost breathed a sigh of relief. Shadows were practically eager to touch me today. Forgive me. I know perfectly well I'm not a friend of yours, more of a sad ghost of the past. However, it was nice seeing you again. Nice to know you're in good health and found where you belong. Same here. The feeling is mutual, pal. I will probably stay in town for a couple of days and then move on. Somewhere southwards with the next caravan, if you want to find me. I mean, you might wish to send your mother a message or something. I usually stroll alongside the ocean shore a bit west from here. By the ocean? Can't these creatures hear you? I don't usually speak to anyone here, so none of them have attacked me so far. I guess this is a goodbye or farewell, who knows. Take care. Gregory was about to leave when he remembered something and stopped. Oh yeah, money for cocktails and water. Forget it, I was glad to hear a familiar voice. So we have two friends, and the father figure who owns the tavern. When another customer entered the tavern, I instantly smelled ocean salt on him, as if he spent a days on the beach soaked in water. Other guests started whispering over the tables. In the corner of my eye, I noticed some of them leave money on the table and leave in a hurry. The dark creature in the enhance looked bewildered and somehow alarming at the same time, stumbling and staggering in walk towards the bar. The damn curse was not helping to asset this situation at all. Glad to see you in our hospital waves.
The waves? I've had enough of those.
The man spoke with an outlandish accent, so I recognized his voice at once. Gene, the owner of Endeavor?
Ex-owner. Endeavor is no more. No ship, no crew, no cargo. Nothing left. I don't even know if I'm still breathing.
I'm very sorry.
It wasn't you who sank the Endeavor.
Well, feelings aside, your losses are our losses too, you know.
They are not nearly the same.
Will you tell me what happened, or should I get you a drink first? Let's start with drink. I'd grab a bite too, but I do recall that you only have a good cooks at night, and you get scrambled eggs burned every other time. There's some pea soup left. I can warm it up.
Gross.
Wasn't me cooking?
Then pour it handsomely.
I'll do what I can. It's mostly leftovers.
Then pour what's left.
My stomach has been empty for 2 or 3 days. I'm always ready to eat your cooking.
How quickly your perspective changes.
No quicker than my shitty life. I put yesterday's smoky ham pea soup on the stove. What a ship, what a fool I was. I was not much of a trip. Done it 100 times. Why insert a cargo when we can save this much? And here we are. Anything strong, perhaps?
Nope. Splash some color over my gray world. Something easy to swallow. Something to turn my brain into colorful pudding.
You're one sharp-sighted bastard, by the way. You do realize I can pay you. I gave him a short nod. It seems Sean still hasn't yet fully realized what a life turner came down upon him. He desperately clings to anything that looks like bleak shadow of his past. This cocktail is called Flaming Lion. It will be sweet at first, and then the King of Beasts will get you all right.
Cut off the smooth talk, punk. Let's get down to business.
Wow, okay, there's a lot of things. Okay. White rum. Is this white rum? Which is white rum and which is golden rum? They're all like... golden rum? This is banana, yep. Golden rum. White rum, golden rum. Oh no, they're all over each other. Okay. We switched these. Okay. Banana syrup, apricot liquor, amaretto. What is amaretto? I have no clue. This is this is coconut syrup. Maybe this is amaretto then. Yes. Coconut syrup, pineapple juice, and pink vermouth. I might have done something wrong here, but let's see. The order of ingredients didn't matter. I covered the mug with another mug, shook it properly, then poured it in drink and the second mug to leave the rocks behind. A lion indeed. Are you sure this is even drinkable? Absolutely. However, you better slow it down when you feel the world start spinning. I wouldn't want to mop the floors after you. Few more customers paid and left the tavern. Damn you, Rick, the smell is next to unbearable.
I spent a few
dazed and unconscious on the shore. How else should I smell? Let us raise a toast or something before I collapse again. It took a moment to think, and I said, okay, here's the possibilities. If life takes something from you, it is ready to offer you something more valuable in return. The old ways are the most reliable, even if they failed you once. New horizons bring new opportunities. There's no sense in fearing them. I personally would go with the first one. If life takes something from you, it's ready to offer something more valuable in return. The merchant took a few impressive gulps of Flaming Lion and grunted. Well, it lacks smoothness a bit, but all in all, it's pretty decent. By the way, I check on the soup before it's boiling its bulb. In a minute. I'm dying to hear your story, at least a gist of it. You scare visitors away with your smell and your looks, it seems. You look no better if you survived what I did. Oh, I do look like a shadow. A dark shape in the mirror, the same as anyone I see here every day. So here goes the story. I frowned at how quickly the mug was being emptied. The merchant clearly didn't bother to heed my advice. Well, too bad for him. We set sail and followed our regular course. No reefs or odd currents sweeping us towards the rocky shore. Dozens of times the Endeavour passed there safely, by that rocks of yours, where the damn castle stands. All the legends and talk, yet nothing has ever passed to a ship in those waters, no matter how many lords of darkness inhabit that place. So, what happens next? The rest was purely out of books. Heavy clouds came out of nowhere, and the storm blew up. It wasn't a big deal for the Endeavour's captain. He's seen worse and survived. Pirates of the Western Seas tried to get aboard dozens of times. None of them good. You are moving away from the subject. It's the shipwreck I want to hear about, not the pirates. It's just that the merchant took another sip from the giant mug. My ship was the story of my whole life, breathing and teeming with color on its few decks. It started with a storm, but it didn't end there. On the main deck, some untold horrors from the deep came swarming. On those had tentacles grabbed on my sailors. Tell me, Maureen, have you ever watched a person being torn apart? A person you've known half of your life? Sean slammed his fists against the bar, leaving a small yet visible mark. When we finally thought we stood a chance against underwater monsters, giant hand emerged from the sea. It was black, slimy, covered in some wart, and had 15 or 20 fingers. Sean held out his hand into my face, pitch black as any other shadows. I instinctively staggered. Not know how much of this story is true, but judging by his outburst, he lived through at least a half of it. The hand landed on the Endeavour's deck with the whole palm and started pushing. The ship went underwater. The floorboards were cracking and breaking into splinters. The hand was merciless. Its massive fingers with long battered nails were breaking my people's spines and crushing the few monsters that were left. It was like I was seeing a nightmare. Perhaps you were. Are you suggesting I'm mad or made this all up? That's a possibility. I haven't seen the remains of the Endeavour. Perhaps you got shit-face on rum, you got your ship in a storm and crashed it against the rocks. As for the monsters, they could have merely be a trick of the light. When you woke up, you couldn't tell fever dream from reality. No, Maureen, I swear it's true. I swear on everything I've got left in my miserable life. There's no lies in my story. The merchant watched to take another sip of Flaming Lion, but reconsidered and put the mug aside. You made the hell of a mix. I think I moved Chan's untouched soup aside just in case. I'm fine. I told you shouldn't be too hard on the lion. It could have escaped, you know. Well, it didn't. Not that it didn't try. Disgusting. Poor guests. By the way, you haven't got any orders since I got here. Why is that? Look around. Most of the guests decided to abandon the ship. I can only hope that the lovely scent you brought wears off by the evening. You know what's the scariest part? When my ship was mostly underwater, I raised my eyes. I saw the old castle and the lonely silhouette on the tower window. It looked like a human at first, but it started growing. A few moments, it filled the whole window. Pieces of it started to fall out. There was this giant hand grabbed the ship and squashed it. I closed my eyes and let the ocean decide my fate. So here I am. And my whole crew is down there, below. Who sent the sea beast? Who controlled the giant hand? Must be the Lord of Darkness himself. You see, Morin, most of these men had families. But is there anything I can do? Dunno. How about finishing what your father started? Go kill the Lord of Darkness. They say he's sacrificed everything, including his family, to entourage for such power to bring security and prosperity to his kingdom. Eventually he lost all of it, the people, the country, his loved ones. He did get the power though, except he's not wasting it on harming others. It wouldn't bring your sailors back anyway. And then, think about it, you were asking to challenge the lurking evil, a simple tavern boy. Yeah, I'd better go. I guess I've done enough harm, missing you on counter or scaring off customers. I don't know where to go, or even why. My whole life now rests here. I buried under the sea. All what's left of it is a grim shadow. I have to clean up. I will be crowded here soon enough, so I'll gossip around. Your stench hasn't traveled around yet. Thanks for hearing me out. I gave Sean the pot with soup leftovers and first spoon I found. You stay safe. I guess I'll go to Caravan Folk if I get enough coin. Bye, Maureen. Soon after the merchant leaves, it gets livelier in the tavern. Okay, now it's the evening time. Do we meet Sari again? Is this a Cthulhu here? Is this the monster? Seems it's getting crowded. Good afternoon. What can I get you? Oh, my demands are so exotic. Unfamiliar voice, but a pleasant one, as pleasant as floating water. No surprises there. New customers happen to pop in every now and then. I raise my eyes. We can see her. Is this witchcraft or something? However, I'm sure you will be able to deliver. I would like some water. Can I have some? Or do you happen to serve only fire water? No, we serve still water too. All the fire water, so still water too. There's a water. Here you go. Thank you. You've got a nice place here, and with a pleasant name too. There's a dear yet sad sound to it. The tavern must be flooded with customers all the time. It is. Are you always this short-spoken, or am I special somehow? Did I strike you? Speechless? That's possible. So there is a chance you won't instantly decline a date with a mysterious stranger. What? Name? What's your name? What kind of mysterious stranger would I be, firing out my name just like that? Come to the castle gate at 6. You might find out more than just my name. It took me a few minutes to come back to my senses. Should I be telling you that this brief meeting came dangerously close to changing my plans? Shadows in the tavern were coming and leaving. I couldn't get the image of this lovely stranger out of my mind. I left an impression that was calling me to cast all busyness aside, to forget customers and leave these walls. Uncle Quentin came downstairs earlier than usual. Uncle? Huh? Would you mind if I finished earlier today? Promise to work tomorrow from dawn to dawn. From noon till next morning. Go rest. I left the tavern, ready to face the unknown, hurrying to date with the mysterious stranger. Should I save? I'm just gonna save it real quick. Yep. Hurrying for the date with the mysterious stranger. Frankly speaking, I can't remember the last time I've experienced feelings so complex I couldn't articulate them. I've always been proud of my ability to process and express emotions, more than any fighting skills of my father taught me. Must be because I've never been trained to do this. It just kept pilfering books from the big library across the road and kept reading and reading. The old librarian must have known I was sneaking in, but she chose to turn a blind eye on me. Still experience some mixture of shame, fear, anxiety, and exhalation every time I tiptoe through those wide corridors. Now I can borrow as many books as I want and read them under a tree as the careless white caps roll over the ocean. The feeling of anxiety is long lost. Yet, when I hurry to meet this weird woman, I remember those feelings. Why just her face that I can see? Why did she call me? But above all, why did she ask me out on a date next to the Dark Lord's castle? The one where my father died, the Gregory's father died. There's no other castle around there. Moreover, hardly anyone goes near it. There have long been rumors that Lord Darkness spreads his corruption across the land, the corruption that makes people evil. So we're going to stay alone in this deserted place linked directly to my past, the past I've tried so hard to conceal. It looks like some kind of trap. The curse must be playing with me. Could she be an illusion? Mira is born from exhausted mind. Anyway, I can't help it. It's just that I have a vague hope to find out where the curse came from. It's because I'm drawn to the castle as well. I can miss the chance, no matter what happens. She was standing not too far from the castle gate, in the middle of the road, all alone, with a pleased smile on her face. You came. I'm gonna save. We're so screwed. We are going into big trouble. Why we are going there? You came. I did. Her face, I started to forget what people looked like. For that, you deserve a reward. Wanda. You wanted to know my name, so here it is. I'm not fooling you. I was mesmerized by seeing another person again, but the last phrase threw me back to normal. I guess it's true that they say you shouldn't judge a book by its cover. Said she wasn't fooling me right now. Not much of a liar, huh? Pleased to meet you. Morin. I know, 1R. How did you... I know many things. In the tavern, I was too stunned to see it, but now the veil has been lifted. That wouldn't be the first time today, I guess. Well, whatever. The point is that crystal clear to me now that ridiculous her cryptic lines sound. It's all but an act, just for me. Or not just for me. What things? Here's one of them. We're going to have an unusual date. One could guess as much from your choice of place. Come help me fight Lord Darkness, and I tell you the truth. Why they have bubbles around their heads. Why everyone else but me looks like a shadow. All of it. I'll answer all of your questions. I didn't like this a single bit. I told no one about the bubbles. Not even the Fire Witch. She has to do something with the curse. So what? Does such a goal appeal to you? It's bad. Really, really bad. First of all, because I'm going to accept, I have to know more about the curse. My suspicions were correct. She has something to do with it. The answer must be near. The question is what price I will have to pay. Why did you have to fight the Lord Darkness in the first place? As a child, I saw my family and close ones suffering. We lived in poverty and despised from birth from what we did not choose. As a teen, I ran off my kin for their sake. It was then I set my mind on one thing, to reach my full potential and to build a better world without suffering. Even if I have to pay an ultimate price, seems to be telling the truth. It's unlikely she would use such a corny excuse if she had other reasonings to make me go. It's about time to remember my father's advice, but surely this can't be the only reason. I mean, it's good enough, but people who come to challenge the Lords of Darkness tend to have more. Wanda took a minute to think, which surprised me. I believe I don't want to disappoint myself. At some point I felt I've reached my limits. That's where I wasn't much to learn to understand what I could waste all my potential and to fail to achieve what I want. That's why I wanted to prove myself. Otherwise, whatever the cost, such thoughts mean trouble, but I'm sure she means that. Fine. I don't have much choice. The curse have been poisoning my life far too long. Took you long enough? So much time for nothing. She clearly in a hurry. She moved towards the gate. She approached the castle wall, crouched and took out a sheathed sword from the tall grass. Pleasant surprise, she did a nice job preparing for the crusade. Looks like a nice sword. I wonder who is it for? A mystery indeed. Don't expect me to leave you here just because you were playing dumb. Take this. It's unwise to It's unwise to go unarmed. It took the sword, hung it to my belt, and we finally reached the gate. Unwise indeed. Okay, let's save. I don't know if we can die here, but you know, just in case. You're clearly well prepared. You have no idea how well. Should I be afraid? Don't know. What do your dating beliefs say about that? They tell me not to go with this woman to the Dark Lord's castle. Can't say I agree. We can agree to disagree. It's important to respect others' opinions. Huh, I might have a problem with that too. I haven't tried though. Haven't been around people much lately. I can't tell. Isn't that obvious? See yourself. You were doing fine until I made you exchange more of that couple of phrases with me. So you believe I'm not doing fine now? Well, I wouldn't say my definition of fine is acceptable here. Looks perfectly fine to me. You talk a lot, but you're still coming with me to kill the Lord of Darkness. Because you left me practically no choice. You definitely know something about my curse. You bet I do. The point is, I did the trick. It did the trick. Didn't get what I wanted. Fair enough. So your complaints are groundless. Besides, I wouldn't complain if I were you. You're on a date with a real living woman, instead of the shadows you have been avoiding for years. You should be grateful. So it's my fault now. Who else's? One giving a man not just an opportunity to serve mankind, but also a few hours with an attractive lady. And look, if I may speak bluntly, I've had a chance to compare these years. You're certainly more attractive than a bubble-headed shadow, I give you that. As for the rest, I'm not so sure. You're no oil painting either, more of the opposite. I'm all pumped up and ready to storm into the castle where my father died. Ah, so that's why your sore spot is. Don't worry, I think Maureen would have done the same. Hate to admit it, but she wasn't too far from the truth. Father would definitely follow her into the castle, even if he got magically received after his last visit. He would, but I'm not my father. No, you aren't, Maureen. Not Maureen. I'm aware. How does it feel, by the way? Being called by your late father's name who accomplished so much more. Why? I mean, I've achieved a lot too. Achieved? What exactly? The respect of local drunks? That too. I'm really happy that so many good people think well of me. You wanted to say Bubbles. I prefer to ignore her comment. I'm content with my decision and my life, as well with my ability to have proper conversations with others, unlike those who come to my tavern to drink water and pay nothing. You're not getting it. I paid you with a chance of participate in a world-changing quest. Anyway, Maureen, let's proceed to the castle. There isn't much time left. Fair enough, I've had my fun, and it's time to move on. Fine. Shall we? When I entered the castle, it finally hit me. I was in a place where my father died, with an unfamiliar woman who knew suspiciously much about my curse and kept pulling my strings. I started to feel afraid, perhaps for the best. Fear is only natural and very appropriate, at least in these halls. Oh, we're back in these halls. Let's do this again. I had a vague feeling of déjà vu as I was reading through these unnatural spaces. It's not that they were completely uninhabitable. They weren't. The decor was exquisite. There were vases all over the place and designers' sofas every once in a while. However, it looked as if someone was trying to recollect scraps of their memories about a castle. The door behind us slammed. Wanda shivered. I was ready to draw my sword any moment now. There was something emerging from the darkness. Wanda took a step back. I moved towards it. The monster had human eyes, staring blankly at nothing in particular. For no reason, I was afraid to look into them. I looked at his hands instead. And the ring, my father's ring, where the fingers are supposed to be. I might myself look into his face. This was the first king? Or knight, I mean. The first knight? Or the second one? It was him. Disembodied, but the soul was still drifting through the careless bliss. He was finally free from his oaths and broodings, heroic duties. His soul remained in these chambers, but he doesn't seem to mind. He's happy to simply exist in this world, relieved of all liabilities, without a single thought of where he is and who is in front of him. He didn't see me. His eyes were staring into space. He moved, then stopped, moved, then stopped, again and again. Finally he froze. Wanda ran up to me. She grabbed my shoulder. "Why aren't you doing anything? Do something." Her voice surrounded us with a horrible echo, but it didn't matter. She touched me. I saw flashes of memories in her eyes of what used to be my father. People from different ages. Over seconds I saw hundreds of scenes from different lifetimes and understood all of them. Aside from that, I somehow saw bits of Wanda's life. One of them was her, chanting a spell over my portrait. It was a picture of younger me, doused in water. A water witch, huh? I should have guessed sooner. But it doesn't matter. I saw a lot of my father's life, him being slowly buried under assigned responsibilities as much as under his own principles. I saw him die, fighting some giant shape. I saw that creature disappear into thin air and saw him take its place. Was that monster actually Gregory's father? Therefore was more. I saw a regular castle turn into distorted space, mainly centuries ago. The very castle we are in now. Wanda's voice brought me back to reality. Barely a few moments passed, apparently. "Weren't you killing it? Kill!" "No way." Wanda lost what he was left of her composure and started yelling. The echoes of her voice came pouring from every direction. "Have you still figured out it was me who put the curse on you, that I'm maintaining it even now?" It occurred to me a few minutes ago. However, I'm still trying to understand why you need any of that. Why? Because I absorb your soul and take your shape with my water magic, and your Morin heritage I will surely slay the Lord of Darkness. I gripped the sword tighter, still didn't feel like attacking, and surprisingly, neither did I feel any hatred towards her. My father was right about people with big ideas. I can see why you are doing it, and what for. You already told me, more or less. But why the curse? Why all the fuss? Absorbing soul demands a strong magical link between the witch and the bearer of the curse. The longer this connection is, the more powerful the effect. My heart was in the wrong place when we started our journey, though these endless corridors, but now that I met my father and found the truth, I feel free again. So that's where the dreams come from. It was Wanda reaching out to me. Don't you worry, playtime is almost over. The plan played out perfectly, by the way. I modified the curse so that it messed with your perception of everyone but me. You instantly shallowed the bait. So that's how it was. Are more questions then? Why the hurry? I thought you said longer means better. If you wait too long, at some point the power becomes too much to handle. But we won't have that. The timing is perfect. She made a sudden movement with her hands. Curses! I found myself in bubble and slowly floating up. Let's save. My father still stood there, not too far from us. His eyes were enjoying some words beyond. Since you can't even protect me, I have no reason to hold back anymore, do I? A pity. I was quite enjoying our little date. I could feel worms or water crawling on me. Wait, I can still move. Wanda is water witch. That's what Gregory was warning me about. And that's why he is present. Father trained me to fight the spawns of water magic. I looked at my hands and saw one of them still gripping the sword's hilt. Before these worms get under my skin and the magic binds my movements, while Wanda is busy with her ritual, I have to focus. After all, battles are not different from bartending, as one might think. Oh, we're going to click on a rhythm, right? The right thing. Click the right thing on the screen. Should this be okay? And then bop bop. Not without effort, I managed to shake off the worms with my empty hand and reached into the pocket, grabbed for the amulet, pulled it out. For a moment, couldn't figure it out how to open it. Fiddled with it for a while and spread the sand for the amulet over the blade, then grabbed it with my other hand. I cut through the bubble dash behind Wanda and hit her on the neck with the hilt. The amulet chain wrapped around it clicked. She collapsed in an instant. Her palms fell down and turned into water. As I was standing over her body, my father's eyes were still piercing into the void next to me. I gave him another look. He was still there, although somewhere else too. In a sense, he was carefree. After that I've seen in my father's eyes, I couldn't kill him. Let him rest from the endless misery of her life began at the end. Let him linger in this quiet limbo for a while. Sooner or later, another adventurer seeking glory or the Dark Lord's power will come here to take his place, and he will pass on to another world where I will hopefully join him one day. I took Wanda into my arms and carried her out of the castle. The return trip was short. The castle did not try to hold us back. Oh, so we are not going to fight with the Prince of Darkness. When I reached the shore, I buried Wanda into the sand so that only her head remained visible. Then I stopped to gather my thoughts and weighed up the alternatives until I saw some people at the other end of the beach. Not just sapes, but real people. I got back to my feet. I didn't know where to laugh or cry. It seems that Wanda was unable to maintain the curse. It stopped ruining my life. Don't know how Gregory managed to lay his hands on the bewitched sand. I would be surprised to find out he traveled to Earth, which is distant lands, just for me. Then it hit me. Wanda could be eyeing him too, so he, cautiously beyond measure, would take precautions. Then he saw her targeting me instead and came to warn me, despite his fears. In a way, no less heroic than traveling overseas to save me. Anyhow, what should I do about Wanda? I got an idea. Gregory isn't going to like that at all. I would like to save. Save. Where am I? What happened? Why do I have some kind of bracers on me? Good morning. What can I get you? You! Take this thing off. I need the damn key. I give it back as soon as you work off the damage inflicted on me. It's hard serving clients without being able to distinguish faces, you know. Uncle was just complaining we seem to be one person short. You little. Yes, I can certainly enjoy this life of mine. It's a shame we can't tell anyone we're the only tavern in the world to employ a weather witch. For some reason, I believe everything is going to be fine now. Okay, we got the ending, second ending of the all possible 4. Okay. Okay. It was... It's fun that there's a couple of more endings to this. I'll put the link on the description so you guys can try it yourself as well and tell me, did you get all the endings? And yeah, it's free. If you like it and got intrigued, please try it. And yeah, thank you for watching. Special thanks to Cushing. Awesome. Awesome little game with few people. Whales fly through the cage of time. Nice. Seems like a quote from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Okay, hey, that's quite neat. Thank you for watching. See you next time.